This is the 5th session as part of Anthropology 100 Fundamental Concepts. In session 4, what we have discussed concepts like, in yesterday's session, social institutions, social stratification, incest taboo, right? Marriage, family and their functions. Then we also discussed relevance of marriage and family, isn't it? Later we also discussed concepts like uh, feminize, urbanization, industrialization and movements, feminism related movements and what type of impact they have on family. So these are some of the topics which we have discussed, apart from topics like kinship and descent and alliance. So these are the 10 topics which we have discussed in yesterday's class. On that note, let's move to today's session. Okay. The first topic which we will be discussing in today's class, economic anthropology. Economic anthropology. So economic anthropology, to be precise, is an interdisciplinary topic. What is interdisciplinary? Means something which involves two disciplines or two subjects. One, economics; two, anthropology. So by this time you all would have got at least some understanding of what anthropology does, isn't it? Anthropology is the study of humans in totality, isn't it? Like we have mentioned multiple times, anthropology is like study of culture, study of social institutions. This is what anthropology is. You will get more comprehensive understanding by the end of the 10th session what anthropology is. And economics is not something very unfamiliar to you all, right? What is economics? Economics is a branch which talks about economic activity. Mute all बैठे से okay? Which talks about economic activity. Now what is economic? Mute all participants option untadi achi. So what does economic anthropology do? Generally we think that people take economic decisions strictly based on economic logic. People take economic decisions strictly based on economic logic. People take economic decisions strictly based on economic logic. So what do I mean when I say people take economic decisions strictly on economic logic? And I'll try to counter, or I'll try to prove that not every time people take decisions strictly based on economic logic. Now I'll ask you one simple question. Let's say parents paying the fee. Parents paying the fee. So let's say your parents are paying your fee. Is that economic decision which your parents are taking is that based on strictly economic logic? Let's say for some reason, it should not happen like that. You are not able to clear the examination. Will your parents take back all that money from you? Most likely no, isn't it? Or let's say while paying fee, not every time they would expect that you have to mandatorily clear the examination. But still, why they do that? They do that because out of love, or they may do it out of responsibility, or they may do it to encourage you. So in this case, this particular economic decision, is it taken by your parents on strict economic considerations? No, right? What dominated their decision making? Their love for you, their feeling of responsibility towards your education, their intention to encourage your sincerity, their intention to encourage your hard work, their intention to encourage your sincerity, to encourage your hard work, is responsible for their decision. Now, let me ask another simple question. Let's say you are a resident of a village, and in this village, let's say there are 5 grocery stores. There are 5 grocery stores. 5 grocery stores. And you all very well know that in our Telugu states, generally, not every time, generally, which caste popularly runs the grocery stores? Yeah, very good. In our Telugu states, generally, or for that matter, in most of the South Indian states, it is Arya, Vaisya community. In some states, they are called Shettis, like that. Generally, these are the ones which runs grocery stores. And what did I say? There are 5 grocery stores. And let's say one young Arya Vaisya boy wants to open a 6th store. Now tell me, and for some reason, after opening the store in the very first week itself, this young boy, he does not know how to manage inventory. Inventory means nothing but stock. Because he is new to business, right? So he does not know how to maintain stock, how much groceries to keep, like that. Now tell me, would the other 5 go to help him, or they don't care about him? If this guy seeks help, definitely they'll help him. And why they would help him? Why they would help him in spite of, and helping him has economic consequences, right? Helping him has economic consequences to these 5 people. What if tomorrow this guy becomes biggest businessman of all? Don't you think the other 5 and their business will get impacted? Possibility is there. Still they would prefer to help him, or they would help him. So what was the logic in helping him in spite of being aware that there is a possible negative economic consequence? Caste. Fact that they belong to a same caste, they thought it's their responsibility to encourage fellow castemen. You got my point? So here, did they go for that particular economic decision strictly based on economic logic? No, they did not take that decision strictly based on an economic logic. You understood my point? So going little further, what economic anthropology deals with is, okay, economic decisions economic decisions are not always, economic decisions are not always taken, economic decisions are not always taken strictly based on, strictly based on economic logic, economic logic, okay, and 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 what is believed is, what is believed is, okay, yeah, okay, what is believed is economic institutions, economic institutions or economic decisions are embedded within the broader socio-cultural context. Economic decisions, economic decisions are taken being mindful of broader social context, which means all this will influence our decision making, economic decision like marriage, family, kinship, religion, okay, political organization. So there is a beautiful term we use called as embeddedness. Embeddedness. So what is this embeddedness? Embeddedness is nothing but economic decisions are often taken within the context of, within the context of, within the context of, within the context of other social institutions, within the context of other social institutions. Okay, very simple. Let's say you have a best friend and you cleared this examination, okay, and all through these days this guy gave you moral support. He may or may not have given you financial support, but he gave you moral support. Would you give party to him, or would you think why it is waste of money now? We would be waiting to throw that party, right? So did we take that economic decision strictly based on spending money? No, that's a celebration, that's a joy. You have cleared this examination, now you want to share your joy with others. Are understanding what I am trying to say? Let's not think that every economic decision is taken strictly based on economic consideration, isn't it? Let's say you have to lend to your own family member, maybe your own brother, your own sister. Most often you don't give it based on interest rate, isn't it? For outside people, we will give it based on interest rate. Let's say some genuine family member is in need, or some close relative is in need. What we do? We don't give it based on interest rate, isn't it? What we do is we just give it as a hand loan, give it back whenever you find time. That's how we try to do it, right? Same. Let's say you go to God, you go to temple, and hundi is a place where we put our religious offering. Let's say you have decided to put 10,000 rupees. Now, would you expect 10,000 rupees worth the benefit from the God in return? Sometimes you would just give. Not every time you treat this like an economic transaction, or even if you might want to treat it like an economic transaction, again, your heart will say, don't be nasty, don't play with God, at least with God, don't do economic transaction. He is not like other fellow human being, isn't it? So is this decision to put money in hundi, did you take it as a strict economic transaction? No. Means the point is very simple. We do many things or many economic transactions, many economic activities in our day-to-day life, which may or may not be strictly influenced by an economic logic. That is the subject of economic anthropology. More depth and detail we will go in the regular class. Okay? Yes. This will take me to the next idea, the second idea of today's class. This is not specifically mentioned in the syllabus, but you need to have this knowledge to better understand some concepts in anthropology, especially the concepts in economic anthropology chapter. Okay, this is very simple. If you read your NCRTs carefully, you can easily understand. Generally, any economic system, any economic system will have production and any economic system will generally have production. Any economic system generally will have distribution. Any economic system generally will have exchange, production, distribution, exchange, and any economic system generally will have knowledge. Okay? Knowledge. Like this. First, somebody has to produce something, right? If an economic system has to run, someone has to produce something. And whatever someone has produced, it should be distributed, right? It should be distributed among the members of the society. Then, sometimes if the production is, if there is surplus production, they may want to exchange it with neighboring society. They may exchange the same with neighboring society. Will you agree with me? There will be production. There will be distribution within the society. If they produce surplus, they would want to exchange it with the neighboring society. And every economic activity also includes something called as knowledge. Knowledge about what? Knowledge about economic activity. This also is part of the economic activity. Try to understand. This is applicable even to a small tribal society. This is applicable to a country. This is applicable to whole world also. Try to understand. Any economic system will have its production. Any economic system will have its distribution. Any economic system will have exchange. Any economic system will have knowledge. Now, this is topic 2. Let me connect this to topic 3. Topic 3 is indigenous economic systems. Indigenous economic systems. In our syllabus, they gave globalization and its impact on indigenous economic systems. But for time being, in this session, as a topic, as a concept, we will see indigenous economic systems. If time permits, let us also see what kind of impact globalization can have on indigenous economic systems. First of all, the term indigenous must be unfamiliar to most of you. Indigenous. Indigenous means nothing but local or native or simple or small scale societies. Small scale societies. For all this, we use a term called as indigenous economic systems. To immediately strike an imagination in your mind, assume it as a small tribal society. Small scale tribal society. Let's assume a small tribal society which is living in the proximity of the forest. It's a small localized, it's a nativized, it's a simple society, it's a small scale society. The terms which I am using are not anthropology terms. I am just using general English terms so that you will understand it in an easy way. To make it much easier for you, what I told is it's nothing but a tribal society. Okay, it's nothing but a tribal society. Understood what I am trying to say? Indigenous economic systems. Now, just now I told you any economic system will have production, any economic system will have distribution, any economic system will have exchange, any economic system will have knowledge. You agree with me? Now tell me, let's take production, distribution, exchange, knowledge. Exchange and knowledge. Exchange and knowledge. Let's say small tribal society or indigenous society. And let's take another example, a village. And another example, let's take a big, a big city or a big state, something like that. Now tell me, among these three, which will have, and for your clarity, let's assume that this tribal society is just involved in hunting and gathering. Remember this stuff? They are just involved in hunting and they are just involved in gathering. Hunting animals, gathering of the food. Whereas in village, what is the major economic activity? Agriculture. And at the level of a city or a state, economic activity is industry. Now tell me, how is the production here? Minimal, right? Very minimal production. Here, definitely more. Here it is even surplus. Here also there can be surplus. But here definitely there will be surplus. Nobody would run an industry just for the sake of, local distribution, right? No. Distribution in a small, simple tribal society, is there scope for distribution? Yes, they distribute among themselves. Yes, they distribute. But their distribution is easy, right? There won't be any monetary transactions also. Simply they produce and they distribute. Then at a village level, there will be somewhat surplus. So they trade with neighbor village. They trade with neighbor villages. Now you take at a city level, state level or industry level. Definitely there will be much, it's not about trade, distribution. The distribution will be with the neighboring villages, whereas in this case, the distribution will be across the state or across the city. Means much larger distribution. When it comes to exchange, in case of tribal society, minimal scope for exchange. Whereas in a village, yes, exchange again with the neighboring villages or distribute it among the neighboring villages after distributing it among their village members. Then in case of city, definitely the trade could be with the neighboring state or the trade could be with the neighboring country. Always there is an element of exchange. Knowledge. Knowledge, tell me now, is knowledge present only at this level? Not necessarily, right? Even these people have knowledge about agriculture, agriculture processing, agriculture related activities. Even they also have knowledge about hunting, gathering, local medicinal plants. All of them have knowledge, right? Or understanding what I am trying to say. So even an indigenous economic system, what I want to convince as part of topic 3, indigenous economic systems, is even an indigenous economic system will have their own production, their own distribution, their own exchange, and their own knowledge. Okay? Now, okay? Indigenous economic systems, like tribal societies, they are local, they are native, they are simple, they are small scale, but they also have production, they also have distribution, they also have exchange, and they also have their own knowledge. And economic anthropology also is interested in study of this, especially interested in the study of this indigenous economic systems. Okay? Yes. Now, yeah, I'll just discuss very briefly about globalization. I'll not go into so much depth and detail about it, but yes, globalization. Globalization. So, what is globalization? Have you heard this term, globalization? Globalization is nothing but movement. Globalization is nothing but movement. Movement of what? Movement of people, movement of people, movement of capital, movement of capital, movement of ideas, movement of goods and services. In simple term, globalization means what? Indians going and settling in America. Okay. Movement of capital means somebody goes to Gulf, or someone goes to US, someone settles in Denmark, and they would send back money to India. Ideas. We have copied the idea of Uber, and we have started our own native version, Ola or Rapido, whatever. So ideas also move, right? Ideas can move from here to there and there to here. It's like bi-directional. When I'm saying this, the movement is bi-directional. The movement is bi-directional. Bi-directional movement of people, capital, ideas, and of course goods and services, isn't it? We buy Chinese goods and services. We sell our goods and services to Middle East, or we sell our goods and services to Americans. So that is globalization. And what favors globalization? Generally, globalization is favored by trade. Globalization is favored by tourism. Globalization is favored by travel, and globalization is facilitated is the most appropriate word. What facilitates globalization? What facilitates globalization is? What facilitates globalization is? All these aspects. Facilitated by. Globalization is facilitated by trade. You know trade? Because of trade only goods and services will go there. And tourism also is one. People move, money move because of tourism. Travel also. People travel, sometimes not for the tourism purposes, but sometimes people travel just to know about the other places, gain knowledge. So tourism, travel, trade, and even technology also. Technology also plays an important role. Let's say internet, isn't it? These days we often place orders of some goods and services from other countries also, right? Technology, like this, different types of technology, not just digital technology. Technology also favors globalization. So this is globalization. Globalization is nothing but movement, bidirectional movement of people, capital, ideas, goods and services. What factors facilitate globalization? Trade, tourism, travel and technology. In regular classes, what we will try to see is impact of this on indigenous economic systems. Means how this phenomenon have impact on the indigenous production, how these factors will have impact on indigenous distribution, indigenous exchange, indigenous knowledge. Okay, that it takes a lot of time to discuss in the class, so I will not get into it. But just to make you understand what can be possibly there, these days, you know what's happening? A lot of local knowledge of the tribals, or knowledge of the tribals, what is happening to the knowledge of the tribals? Knowledge of the tribals is stolen, and the knowledge of the tribals is used to make products by other countries. And in our countries also, multinational corporations, they steal the local knowledge of the tribals, and by stealing the local knowledge of the tribals, they are trying to develop goods and services, and tribals are not compensated for the same, financially compensated for the same. Read one, there is one assignment for you, write down. Nagoya Protocol. Nagoya Protocol. Nagoya Protocol. In your environment faculty will discuss about it. Nagoya Protocol. It is part of CBD. There is something called as Convention on Biological Diversity. So read about it. That is your assignment for tomorrow's class. Nagoya, Nagoya Protocol. Try to know what is that Nagoya Protocol. Okay. So this completes discussion on 3 topics. 1, economic anthropology, production, distribution, exchange, and I used a term called as embeddedness. Then I also discussed something called as indigenous economic systems. I also explained to you what is globalization, but I did not connect the impact of globalization on indigenous economic system. But just to provoke thought process of you, I gave one example, how because of globalization, indigenous knowledge is being stolen, and goods and services are developed from the indigenous knowledge. Got my point? Yes. So this will take me to the next topic. 3 topics which we have discussed till now are very important to give foundation to the topic called as economic anthropology. Economic anthropology. Okay, that we will understand in the regular class. Online students, can you please confirm once, is my audio clear, or is there anything difficulty you are facing? Quickly respond in the chat box. Is my audio clear? The 3 concepts which I will be discussing now, or 4 concepts I will be discussing now, are very important to give you a solid foundation for something called as political anthropology. One of my favorite topics, political anthropology. I'll discuss. Power. Have you heard this term? Power. Authority. Legitimacy. Power. Authority. Just a minute. Legitimacy. Padma, check once more, because today we ensured that everything is taken care. I think audio is clear. Yeah. Power, authority and legitimacy. What is power? Just assume you have unlimited power. All the power in the world. What would you do? There is nobody to challenge you, nobody to question you, nobody to checkmate you, restrain you. To put it in English, you have unbridled powers. Isn't it? We can do anything you want, right? Power is all about influencing people to do. Power is all about influencing people to do. Influencing people to do what you want. Influencing people to do what you want. What you want. Not necessarily what they want. If you are powerful, you can do anything you wanted to do. Okay. Then another English word only, which all of you would have heard. Nothing unfamiliar about it. Authority. Then how is power different from authority? Power becomes authority. Power becomes authority when it has legal or societal sanction. In simple word, when legal or societal sanction means approval. If your power is applied by law, if your power is accepted by society, accepted by law, applied by law or applied by society, it becomes authority. It becomes authority. Authority. Let's say GHMC now has come up with a decision that they want to come up with a beautiful footpath in entire Ashok Nagar, Gandhi Nagar. And they would want to clear all the encroachments. They would want to remove all the hackers. No more hackers. And they want to do it in less than 1 week. Because in 10 days, Prime Minister is visiting Ashok Nagar, and they want Ashok Nagar area to be very clean, hygienic, infrastructurally well provisioned. And within 7 days, clearing all the encroachments, laying beautiful footpaths, and everything is done in 10 days. So whatever they are doing, does it have authority? It has authority, right? Because GHMC is a government agency, right? Government agency. It is doing this. It has a legal permissibility. Legally, it is permitted to do it, isn't it? And who gave that legal? Because we have voted them to power. So GHMC is part of the government. GHMC is part of the government, and GHMC has the authority to do this. Now, there is a possibility, two possibilities are there. What GHMC does, let's say, encroachment clearance drive. Encroachment clearance drive. Encroachment clearance drive. Now tell me, acceptability. Acceptability. Let's say if 100% of the people accept the decision of GHMC, one scenario. Another scenario, 0% people accept the decision or action of GHMC. What did I say? What is the term I used? Acceptability or acceptance. Acceptance. If everybody is accepting or maximum number of people are accepting, then the action of GHMC, will have, what does it have? It has legitimacy. Action of GHMC will have legitimacy. Action of GHMC will have legitimacy. Action of GHMC will have legitimacy. Legitimacy means it's not just authority. The authority also has acceptance, means people are happy with the authority. Then it becomes what? Legitimacy. Then it becomes legitimacy. So understood that difference between power, authority and legitimacy? Let's say your parents may have authority over you, but not all the decisions your parents take with your life need to have legitimacy. Some of them they might have taken without your acceptance. In such scenario, what they are doing, they are just exercising their power in the name of authority. You understood my point? Power is influencing people to do just want to do, no authority also. It is very simple. Let's say there is a local goon. This local goon somehow want a piece of land. He'll go to any extent to ensure that nobody stays in that land. He'll drive people away. He encroaches. He occupies the land. Brutal force. He is using power. Or let's say there is an armed group. This armed group wanted to have control over a large territory. They kill people, they scare people, they drive people away from, and they declare that we have control over this place. Exercising brutal force, exercising power. You understood my point? Taliban in Afghanistan. What they did? To start with, they exercise their power, just they exercise their power. Later, they also got authority. Why? Because some people gradually started to accept their power. Gradually, and some of the actions now also have legitimacy. People are accepting their decisions also. So you got my point? That is the difference between power, authority and legitimacy. Legitimacy means there should be acceptance also. Authority means society should, or according to law it is okay, or according to the societal standards it is okay, or according to the societal morals it is okay. That gives authority. Yes, society includes people, but legitimacy is more personalized also. Society can include people, but what type of things generally society sanctions? Let's say father's control over mother. All societies accepts it, but it's not that just because society is accepting it, that need not be correct. You understood my point? Society generally goes on the majority phenomenon. Everything that society is accepting, is it good to individual? Need not necessarily, right? You understood my point? So legitimacy is something which has wider acceptance also, not just because it is having social sanction also. You got my point? In society there is respect for religion, but let's say tomorrow one religious guru comes up with one weird rule or law, people may not accept it. So he may have the authority to do it. As a mullah or as a priest, he may have the authority to do it, but people might not accept it, so he loses his legitimacy. You understood my point? Certain things, society accepts it. Society accepts the authority. Society accepts, or law accepts the authority. But acceptance is different. Acceptance to the decisions is different. Acceptance to the authority is difference. There is difference. Got my point? This is, yes, you are given authority. You can do this. But you should use it in such a way that more number of people accept it, then it becomes legitimate action, or then it acquires the nature of legitimacy. So that is the difference between power, authority and legitimacy. Okay? Is it clear? Power, legitimacy and authority. Just take 1 minute time, try to recall that. Try to read it on your own. Ask me if you have any doubt, any confusion there in that regard. That's what. It will not have 100% legitimacy. It have partial legitimacy.
Even though the action is correct.
The action is correct. Yeah, action may be correct, but it also has to be accepted by people. For it to get legitimacy, it has to be accepted by maximum number of people. Got my point? Maximum number of people. Need not be 100% every time. Need not be 100% every time. Okay? This will take me to the next idea. That is topic number 7 for today. Social control. Social control. Social control. What is social control? Nothing but control by society. Control by society. I'll ask you guys one very simple and fundamental question. If I ask you, what stops us from wrongdoing? What stops us from wrongdoing? Tell me, what stops us from wrongdoing? Okay. What stops us from wrongdoing? Ajay says ethics, individual ethics. Okay. What else?
Inner consciousness.
Uh-huh. Individual ethics and individual conscience. Conscience means in Telugu we call it manasakshi. Inner conscience is voice of our mind. Voice of our mind is conscience, manasakshi. What else? Conscience. What else stops us from doing wrong? Uh-huh. Society. What exactly in society? Uh-huh. Okay. 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 Public image. One. Then fear of fear of retribution, means people might scold you or people might retribution means people might punish you. Fear of punishment might stop us from doing wrong. Then what else? Fear of fear of God. Karma is a religious principle. So fear of God. Then what else? What else is stopping us from doing bad? Parents. Fear of parents. What if my parents throw me out of house? Fear of parents also, right? Sometimes, fear of, you know, the peer group you are part of. What if my peer group disowns me? What if that peer group can be the caste you belong to, okay, or the religion you belong to, isn't it? Sometimes the social group you belong to also kind of exercises control over you. Okay, but I'm surprised none of you are saying, okay, fear of law also, right? You told fear of law? Okay. Fear of law also, right? Sometimes, let's say there is a possibility that individual might not have ethics at all. There is a possibility that we don't care about our public image at all. We don't fear punishment by our neighbors or community members, even if they don't talk to you or even if they scold you or even if they try to, what do you call, subtly warn you, you don't care. Then you don't believe in God at all. Possibility is there. Then your parents have pampered you so much, you are no longer fearing them. Possibility is there. Or you don't give much damn about your caste or religion or whatever. Then in that case also, don't you think you have to control an individual's actions has to be controlled? In that case, law will come. Simply put, social control is exercised by social institutions. Social control is because of social institutions. What social institutions? Like family, religion, economy, all the social institutions which we have listed multiple times on the board. Okay, social control need not be always because of the law. Social control will happen because of the social institutions. Let's say, what are the social institutions? You already know. Marriage, family, kinship, religion, okay, economic organization, okay, all these are part of the society. I did not write political organization, which I usually write, because law comes under political organization. Law generally comes under political organization. Law is very much a part of the society, but within that, law is more precisely under the political organization. So let's say, yes, often people do not commit wrong. fear of family, with the fear of family, isn't it? Let's say there is a guy, he wants to marry someone out of the caste, but he fears that if he marries out of his caste or her caste, her family might no longer show their love or affection or help financially. Then this guy might not, I'm not saying it is wrong, but this guy might not do this out of the fear. Like that, you may not want to do anything wrong out of the fear for family. Sometimes people do not commit wrong out of the fear for losing relationships. Like I already said, yes, God is watching everything. God is making a list of papam, punyam, okay? And after I die, it's highly likely that with all the nasty stuff I am doing, I might end up in the hell. So let me be a, what do you call, a man of integrity. Let me be honest. Let me be truthful. Let me be sincere. Isn't it? People always, especially God-fearing people, means God also has an important role to play. Like that economic organization, sometimes, if you are doing wrong, there is a possibility that you might not be involved in the economic activity. So if you don't involve in economic activity, you will not have a livelihood, especially in villages. Let's say why people respect the authority of the elders, because the entire land is under the control of elders. If you don't listen to elders, elders might not give you access to their land. When you don't have land, you don't have an economic activity. When you don't have an economic activity, you don't have a livelihood. You understood my point? So the point I am trying to highlight now after this discussion is, in the present times, ability of the social institutions to control the individual's actions is declining. Try to understand that point. Ability of social institutions, to control individuals' actions, is witnessing a decline. Very, very important premise I made, is witnessing a decline. Isn't it? Why this is happening? Because one important, there are many other reasons also, but most important reason is individualism. People are becoming very self-centered. When people become very much individualistic and self-centered, they no longer fear their family, they no longer fear their spouse, or they no longer fear their relatives, and God-fearing nature also is gone. Then that is the reason there is an increase in the crime rate. Okay, the reason why crime rate is increasing is society is no longer able to control the individual's actions. Now if individual is not doing wrong, it's purely because of fear of law. For most of the people, it's fear of the law that is controlling the individual's actions in the current times. But for any reason, if fear of law, or the law and order, to be more precise, the criminal justice system, if it is not doing its job properly, what may happen? If criminal justice system is not doing its job properly, then crime rate will increase. That is happening in the current society. In the past, let's take some 1,000 years ago, do you think you have police, laws, prisons, court system? Not much, right? Still, crime rate used to be somewhat less, because people used to fear God, the social institutions used to have a strong control over the individual's actions, but that is now fast losing its relevance. So we have to revive our social institutions. That will help in addressing the crime rate. Just by having more police force, or more CCTV cameras, or more surveillance of the individuals Mobile phones will not stop the crime rate. We have to revive the declining nature of our social institutions that will automatically will have a positive impact on the crime rate. Positive impact on the crime rate. Got my point? Yes. Now, let's go to the next topic. Next topic.
Social.
Of course, it is possible. We have to make it possible. Cannot say that it is not possible. We have to make it possible. Means we have to tell people about the importance of our social institutions. Tell people the importance of spirituality. Tell people the importance of family. Tell people the importance of kinship. Tell people the importance of getting into a married life. Likewise, I'm not trying to preach morals or something like that, but I believe that social institutions have their relevance. I believe that social institutions can contribute to the positive functionality of the society. With that conviction, I am trying to say that yes, vibrant social institutions or a functioning social institutions will definitely have a positive impact on the individual and his actions. Now, the next three concepts which I am going to discuss are something related to a topic called religion in anthropology. Chapter 5, religion. So these topics will act as a foundational concepts or basic concepts. The first concept I will be discussing in this context is sacred and profane. Sacred and profane. Sacred and profane. Sacred, you know this term already, right? Profane, you may not be aware. So profane is nothing but mundane. Profane is nothing but secular. Profane is nothing but mundane. Profane is nothing but secular. Profane is nothing but mundane. Profane is nothing but secular. Still, you will not be getting complete understanding. Don't worry. Be patient for 5 more minutes. You will get a clarity. Now answer my question. Let's say you go to a restaurant, you order food, and you go to temple, and after darshan, what would they give you? What do we call it? Prasadam. Is it prasadam or naivedyam? Naivedyam is what you offer to God. Prasadam is what you get. Okay? Prasadam. Which is more sacred? Why?
Because we offer to God.
But it is the same thing, right? This is also food, this is also food. Hmm? So, this we consider it as sacred. This you consider it as mundane, day to day. Got my point? No. Let's say okay. Easy to tell. Which is sacred? Huh? This is sacred, right? This is considered sacred. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? My question is this: why is this sacred? And who gave it the sacred status? And what's the purpose of giving the sacred status? Did we ever think? Generally, we just accept it. Okay, it is sacred. It is secular, mundane, day to day. Who gave this sacredness? Why they gave this sacredness? What is the objective behind this sacredness? It's part of our culture. This is a very detailed discussion, but I'll try to convince you as much as I can in this 3-4 minutes. All societies have objects, places, or objects or things, even people, objects, things, places, people, and days or events which are sacred and profane. Isn't it? In different societies, there might be different things. You got my point? In different societies, there are different sacred things or different sacred objects. And in different societies, there may be different sacred places. Tirumala is sacred. Vijayawada may or may not be sacred. Of course, Vijayawada has Bhavani temple. Or maybe let's take some other Guntur. Guntur may or may not be sacred. But Tirumala is definitely sacred. Some people are considered sacred. Let's say priest in the temple. Sacred people. Some days, auspicious days, sacred. So, society has created this sacred profane distinction. Societies have created this sacred profane distinction. Across the world, you will find it everywhere. All societies created this distinction. To regulate social interactions. So what do I mean when I say to regulate social interactions? Maybe you call something sacred, it is not what you call accessible to everyone. It is not easily accessible to everyone. Call something sacred, such people are not easily available to everyone. Okay, some days sacred, some people sacred, some places sacred, some objects sacred, some things are sacred. So the sacredness is not intrinsic to them. Intrinsic means they are not born with that sacredness. Society gave that sacredness. Okay, try to understand that point. Sacredness is not intrinsic. Sacredness is not intrinsic. Not intrinsic. It's not intrinsic. A very simple question. Let's say you go to a devout spiritual woman and offer her a diamond worth 1 crore, and also offer her like, okay, you can stay permanently before Lord Balaji or Venkateshwara Swami in Tirumala throughout your life every day. It's highly likely that she may accept the second offer, probably not the diamond, because for her, though Lord Venkateshwara statue may not have any intrinsic worth, but the kind of sacredness she attaches to it is many times more valuable than a diamond worth 1 crore. Are you getting my point? Maybe right from her childhood she would have heard that staying in the abode of Lord Venkateshwara, there is nothing better than that. Her mind has been primed for that. And when she is given that opportunity to be part of the highest level of sacredness, where she can stay right before the idol of Lord Balaji in Tirumala for the rest of the life, she may or may not think twice to just say, I don't want this diamond worth 1 crore, which actually has an intrinsic worth of 1 crore. If she can sell that diamond, she can make 1 crore money, but still she may not prefer. So every society has created this sacredness or assigned this sacredness to certain things to regulate social interactions, to bring social control, to regulate social interactions. I'll add one more layer. What is this regulating social interaction? Regulating social interaction means you have to satisfy some conditions for you to get access to sacred. One simple example, easy to understand. Will your mom give you prasadam without bathing? You don't have access to prasadam unless you bath. Is it not regulating your behavior? That regulates your behavior. Your ability to a simple access to prasadam is subject to conditionalities, is subjected to a regulation called you have to take a bath. Like that, or even let's say if you have to access to temple, then there are certain things you have to perform. That sacredness will not come easily. That sacredness is scarce. Only if you satisfy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conditions, then you will have access to this. Okay? There is a lot of misuse of the sacredness that we will talk in the regular class. Because in the name of sacredness, some people are called sacred, and untouchability is perpetuated for thousands of years. Though social interactions are regulated, but in a negative way. You got my point? So this is one of the fascinating concepts. We will discuss more about this in the regular class. What is this concept? Sacred and profane. Sacred and profane. Sacred means something which has sacredness. Profane means something which is mundane, or mundane means day to day. Secular or regular is called as profane. Profane. The examples I have given, let's say prasadam is sacred. Then objects, things, places, people, days. Then why all societies created this sacredness? To regulate the social interactions. But we will go into much more depth and detail on this idea of sacred and profane in the context of a discussion in regular class. Got it? Yes. So this is topic number 8 for you, sacred and profane. This will take me to the next topic, simple topic, religion. Religion. So what is religion? Religion, nothing but, religion is nothing but, religion is a belief system. Religion is born from belief system, isn't it? Yuval Noah Harari in his recent book, I forgot the name of the book, Nexus, he call it, religion is an example of a subjectivity which is accepted by all. Okay, I'll do it in the regular class. For time being, understand that religion is just a belief system. You believe in it. If I ask you how many have you seen God, none of us has seen God. But still we believe that a supernatural being exists, and this supernatural being exists, and what is it to do with us? What functions is it supernatural satisfying? What's function? Isn't it? All social institutions exist to satisfy some function. Will you agree with me? And in yesterday's class, I told that all social institutions are existing to satisfy the needs of the individual. Agree with me? Social institutions must be satisfying some of the needs of the individual. And did I mention the name of religion within the social institutions multiple times? Agree with me? Is religion an example of a social institution? Very much. Religion also is an example of a social institution. Then what needs religion is satisfying? Tell me, what needs religion is satisfying? No doubt religion is satisfying some needs, otherwise religion will not become relevant. Religion is satisfying one of the most important emotional needs, isn't it? Why you go and pray to God before exam? It will calm down your emotion. If believe that God is there, He'll take care of my result, is a great source of emotional strength to you. Is a great source of emotional strength to you. So religion satisfies the emotional needs. Religion also satisfies the need for a community. Religion satisfies the community needs. But in most cases, religion happens in a communal setup, isn't it? In most cases, religion happens in a communal setup. People go to temple, isn't it? People go to temple, and there are group of people who visit the temple or church or mosque or synagogue, whatever it could be, and that feeling that we are all one, that community feeling gives us a lot of strength, gives us a lot of strength and gives us a lot of solidarity. The feeling of solidarity means I have support system. I have a support system. There are many people like me who believe in the same thing. You got my point? So it is satisfying our need to be in a community. All humans have this need to be in a community. We are social beings. We are social beings and we have this need to be in a community. And just like any other social institution, which we discussed in yesterday's class, religion also has rules. Like we discussed, religion also has roles. Religion also has values. Religion also has practices. Religion also has rules. Religion also has roles. Religion also has values. Religion also has practices. Okay? So if you remember in yesterday's class, I asked you after going back home to think if religion is losing its relevance. If religion is losing its relevance. So, are people now emotionally very well balanced in the present time? Are we all emotionally very resilient? We know how to control our anger. We know how to control our vices. We know how to control our emotions. Do we know all these things? Then having someone to take care of emotional needs in the name of God, is it good? Undeniably it is good, right? So why should we get rid of religion? Because in the present times people are moving very far away from the spirituality. This has impact on the emotions of the people, or ability to control their emotions of the people. Community needs. In today's class itself, I told people are becoming increasingly individualistic. It's all about selfishness. It's all about being self-centered. It's all about thinking about us, ourselves. Now people stop thinking even about the family. At least in the past, people used to think about the family. Now it's all about us, our goals, our needs, our luxuries, our happiness, to the extent that we don't even think about the family. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? So in such a scenario, the relevance of religion has become manifold more. Manifold more means it has become much more relevant in the contemporary times. More about it we will discuss in the regular class. This will take me to the next concept about which you should be aware. Forms of religion. Forms of religion. Different forms of religion. Okay. Let's say most of you or all of you sitting here at least might probably belong to something called as Hinduism, or some of you could belong to Islam, some of you could be Christians, or some also could be Jains. These are the common religions, right, in India. Some could be Sikhs. So Hinduism is nothing but it's a type of polytheistic religion. Polytheism. Poly means many. We have many gods. Whereas in case of Islam, Islam is a monotheism. Only single God, that is Allah. Prophet Muhammad is the prophet. Allah is the ultimate God. Christianity also is a monotheism. Lord Jesus. There might be other gods, but only one is the main God. Rest of them are followers or supporters like that. But there is only one God for Christians. Jehovah they call it, or Jesus also is considered as. So these are monotheistic religions. Now my question is, only these are the religions we have in the planet? Actually no. We think only these are the planets, but there are other types of other forms of religions, like which we generally are not very much familiar with. Animism, animatism, all this we will discuss in the regular class in more detail. I'm just familiarizing with you to these terms so that you will be. Fetishism, naturism, totemism, like that. These are all different types of religion, different forms of religion. Animism. Animism is nothing but belief in spirits. Animism is nothing but belief in spirits. Belief in spirits. Very easy to convince you. I'm sure all of you would have watched the movie Kantara 1, Kantara 2. Guliga is a spirit. In Kantara, this Guliga, all these are nothing but they are the spirits. They don't have a form as such. These spirits which are protecting the forests, whenever somebody is destroying the forest, they get into some human and they use the human as a what do you call, we call it as someone as a what do you call, as a vehicle. Human as a vehicle, as a medium. Medium means someone who mediates, or as a vehicle to take care of, to protect the forest. Animism is very common in many tribal religions. Among tribals, animism is a very common religion. Till recently, there are many tribals who used to have animism. No Lord Rama or no Lord Krishna, Ayyappa, nothing. Their God is a belief in the spirits is their God. That's it. In some, there is this animatism. Animatism, to be precise, like, we'll discuss in more detail in the regular class. Some tribes, they believe that there is something like a current or something like a physically moving entity. It keeps moving across the people. And they believe that, okay, there is one guy, he is the religious head, religious guru. He has this animatic power. It's a little difficult for you to imagine or assume because you might not have experienced this in your real life. You might not have heard also, but it's very simple. They believe that this particular individual has more anima, or mana we call it. He has intrinsic power. So that particular individual or that particular object will be given or will be worshipped or will be treated as a supernatural. That's a different. He's more of a religious guru. Okay. Animatism is very common, used to be very common in tribals of India, especially the Central Indian tribals. They used to believe in this animatism. There is another idea called as fetishism. Fetish means an object. I'm sure all of you at some point of time in your life you would have worn tayattu. Why you wear it? We believe that this object protects you. Protects you from what? How can it protect? We don't know. These are all explanations we are giving. But it is fetishism. An object. We believe that this object has the power to. There are some tribals in which the only form of religion is fetishism. Naturism. In some they worship nature. They worship forces of nature. Some have these totems. Totems. One good example I can tell you. Have you heard of this um, Bishnoi community in Rajasthan? In Rajasthan, there is a community called as Bishnoi community. And there is one very popular film actor called Salman Khan. This guy once, without his knowledge, has killed a black buck. Black buck, Krishna Jinka. It's very common in our forests also, in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh, everywhere we have this black bucks. Then this Bishnoi community wanted to take revenge on this guy. Why they want to take revenge on this guy? Some of you may be thinking, it's already, according to Indian law, this guy has violated wildlife laws. So anyways, he is entitled to penalty. Law will take course. But Bishnoi community is hell-bent upon taking revenge on him. Have you ever read this or heard about this in the news? Because for Bishnoi community, this black buck is a totem. Totem, I'll explain in more detail in the class. Totem means they identify themselves with this, which means if you are killing black buck, it's not just the black buck you are killing. It is killing the identity of the Bishnoi community. They identify themselves with black buck. And attacking black buck is not just attacking an animal called as black buck. Attacking black buck means attacking the dignity or attacking the identity of a social group called as Bishnoi community. It's very easy to explain. Let's say there is a piece of cloth and you walk on that piece of cloth. Now there is another piece of cloth on which there are 3 lines. Topmost line is red, bottommost line is green, middle line is white, in the middle there is a wheel. Now you walk on that. What will happen? You will be probably arrested because you have violated the flag code of India. But this is also a piece of cloth. You got my point? This is also a piece of cloth. But it's possible that you might get arrested for violating the flag code of India. So what is this? Because for us, we identify, that is not just a piece of cloth, that is our identity. That is the spirit of sacrifice of our freedom fighters. That is our spirit of patriotism. It's not just a piece of cloth. We identify ourselves, our nation, our national strength, our solidarity with that piece of cloth. So that is the idea of totem. We will discuss more about it in the regular class. So these are various forms of religion, various forms of religion. Okay. So that completes today's session. Okay. So I have discussed concepts like economic anthropology, in which I try to say that not all academic decisions are strictly taken based on economic logic. Economic decisions always are embedded in some social institutions like marriage, family, kinship, religion, and I tried to give examples for you to understand that. Then I discussed concepts like production, distribution, exchange, and also knowledge, isn't it? And how they exist even in a small tribal society or a simple society, or in a village society or a rural society, also in a city or state or a bigger entity. Then we discussed about indigenous economic systems, and I also introduced you guys to the concept of globalization, and I gave one example to understand how globalization is impacting on indigenous economic systems. I did not give many examples, that we will reserve to the regular classes. Then I explained with example the difference between power, authority, and legitimacy. Power is ability to influence, power is ability to coerce, whereas authority is something which is based on legal sanction or a social sanction or a moral sanction, whereas legitimacy is about giving acceptance to the authority. Not everything which is having authority has to be legitimate. For it to get legitimacy, it has to be accepted by maximum number of people, or if it's an individual has to accept it. Then we discussed the idea of social control by trying to say that not always individual is controlled just by the fear of law, but yes, individual also is controlled by various social institutions and society around him. Then we discussed another beautiful concept called as sacred and profane, and how sacredness regulates various social interactions by giving certain examples. Then I introduced you to the idea of religion as a social institution, and how religion has various functions, and how religious have rules, roles, values, and practices. Then I discussed about various forms of religion like polytheism, monotheism, animism, animatism, totemism, nature worship, and fetishism, right? So that completes today's session, right? I think I did not share yesterday's PDF. Yesterday's and today's I'll do it tomorrow, right?